Hi,
Awesome.
everybody. Welcome to Decoding Your Superpowers with Teresa Lysam and my
Lin-
friend.
Linda Karshner.
Welcome. We're doing a little different time today
Yeah,
because of some conflicting things later on today. But we're going to do it something also a little bit different with Linda is actually going to coach me through a new level of understanding of strengths that we're learning about.
right.
And so I'm going to be the guinea pig.
Yay. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And we're going to see what she can come up with for me. So I'm going
Yeah.
to go ahead and share my screen of my strength report. I don't really know if I've showed it in public before. So this is
Oh,
interesting.
yeah.
Okay, so there is my lineup of strengths.
Yeah. We
You
look
can
at other
see,
people's, so
yes.
we should put ours out there too.
Yeah, maybe I'll get to work on you another time.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And if anybody watching would like us to look at your report and go through it with you at being here live, you get yourself a free half hour of coaching. So
Yeah,
something to think about.
yeah,
So
definitely.
you can see my zone of genius there, 1 through 10.
Mhm.
And I'm going to let Linda go ahead and tell me what she's picking up
Okay.
just by looking at this report.
Okay. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take like a sort of a 10,000-foot view of Teresa's strengths. Normally, we zero in, we talk about individual strengths, we talk about domains, but something that we've been learning from Eddie Villa, our mentor and coach, is this one sentence strengths mastery that just gives you something super simple, almost like an affirmation to get you started each morning. Each day when your feet hit the ground, this is where you get started. And just like the strengths themselves, this is a starting place. It's
Mhm.
not the be all and end all. It's not where you end up, where you stop. It's where you start.
Mm.
So we're just going to do an overview. And normally, if I was working with someone, I would take them through each of their top 10 strengths and have them fill out a little bit of a form or jot down um, three descriptors of each of those strengths, but I went ahead and did that ahead of time for Teresa's just because of, timing and that sort of thing. Like we want to get to the good stuff for you guys. And Teresa is, of course, a little bit more familiar with this. So I'm just going to fly through these quickly.
Okay.
Teresa, your input is a practical, accepting, and external strength. Connectedness is energetic, accepting, and internal. And I'll explain these words a little bit more. Positivity is energetic, judgy, and internal. Harmony is energetic, judgy, and internal. Developer at number 5 is energetic, judgy, and external. Includer is energetic, judgy, and external. And learner is practical, accepting, and internal. Intellection is energetic, accepting, and internal. And woo is energetic, lots of energetic there,
Mhm.
accepting and internal. And futuristic is energetic, judgy, and internal. So what I do with my little chart or have the person do is say, okay, for my top 10 strengths, are they energetic or practical? And that's a category that we count up like a sort of a dichotomy. So Teresa has 8 energetic strengths in her top
Mhm.
10. So there's no doubt that she's going to lead with energetic, and I'll explain what that means. Then the next dichotomy pair is judgy versus accepting. So she has, just like me, 5 judgy and 5 accepting. However, she has 3 judgy in her top 5. So if you're split evenly between any of the 2 pairs, you look at your top 5, and whichever has the most strengths in that category or that subcategory, then you lead with that. So she has positivity, harmony, and developer are all 3 judgy in her top 5. So we're going to say that she leads with judging. She can probably flow back and forth between accepting and judgy quite a bit. But the best place for her to start each day is judgy. And I'll explain what that means, because as soon as people hear the word judgy, they get all excited and nervous. And I did too. I was like,
Yep, yep.
judgmental? I'm not judgmental.
Yes, yes.
I'm an includer. How can I be judgmental? Well, you know what? Includer is judgy. Surprise
Ouch.
me. Yeah. So then our next pair is internal versus external. And Teresa has 7 internal strengths in her top 10. So she is energetic, judgy, and internal. So let's talk a little bit with her about what that means. So we're going to summarize the overall theme of your entire strengths report to help you start getting results with them today and every day. There's a lot of greatness to unpack with your strengths, but the goal is to start seeing results with them without having to master the understanding of all of your strengths. What we did so far is we went through the top 10 strengths, read off each one, starting with number 1, and then we assigned them with their appropriate category or subcategory. So we have a theme that we will now break down through a little bit of a process into a single sentence. This sentence will give you a simple set of action items to focus on daily that will guarantee you will be using your strengths authentically. So you do everything best when you start with energetic, judgy, and internal. We'll go over what these words mean, and I'll break down the one sentence or the single statement piece by piece. What this sentence is about is, what is the first thing you need to do each and every day to activate your strengths? Sort of like the catalyst, the kindling to the fire. Keep in mind that you can do anything you want with your strengths. This is simply the best way to get started. All right, so let's talk about energetic first. I'm going to share with you what it means to begin everything from an energetic approach. Based on your top 10 strengths, you are your best self when you begin from this place. As I share this with you, think about where in your life you are or need to start doing this. Also, think about the things you do that honor this approach. To begin everything with energetic means to focus on what gives you energy and excitement. And the first thing I thought when I heard energetic, and I'm energetic also, was I'm not like an Energizer bunny. Like, I'm not a doer, like get up, feet hit the floor, do. For some people, that might be what is energetic for them. For other people, it might be in their head as a strategic thinker, which you are. So to begin everything with energetic means to focus on what gives you energy and excitement. These are the things that light you up, that inspire you, and naturally fuel your momentum. When you are aligned with what energizes you, you get access to all of your strengths. When you're operating from a place of exhaustion, obligation, or trying to be someone you're not, you cease being your best self, which makes sense.
Yep.
This means that you must be clear with yourself on what activities, people, and environments give you energy and what drains it.
Mhm.
With everything you do, make a list of the things that inspire and energize you and focus on doing more of those things so that you're able to give your best self with everything. Then make a list of people or situations that inspire you to show up fully. Add to your list the actions you can take to stay connected to this energy, whether it's through creativity, inspiration, or more. The first part of the single sentence, your one sentence mastery that will allow you access to your strengths consistently without fail, is this: I need to manage or focus on my energy.
Okay.
All right, now I'm going to give you a chance to give me some feedback on that. What have you heard so far? What stands out to you? And thinking about like what you want to do right now, something you want to accomplish. What are some things that naturally energize and inspire you? Activities or habits that you can do every day to ensure that you begin with managing and focusing on what energizes you.
Um, yeah. So you would suggest to someone such as myself to list out what is energizing
Mm-hmm.
to them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the past, excuse me, I never would have considered this.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you would have told me 10 years ago that I was energetic and I mean, yes, in my activity level, yes, I would believe that.
Yeah.
But in terms of any other thing, what inspires me, what energizes me, who energizes me, like I never even considered that. Like I
Mm-hmm.
didn't realize that was happening at a subconscious level.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But now with that awareness, I can see that I do need to be very protective of my energy. I have to be very protective of what I allow in. So
Right.
I'm very discerning as to what I watch on TV, what
Yeah.
movies, the news. Like I don't do anything that will upset my balance of energy,
Mm-hmm.
my flow.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, 10 years ago, I didn't really understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I do it with intention.
Mm-hmm.
So I will limit myself to, just a couple minutes of the news, get the headlines, hear what's happening. And then I have to let that go and continue on,
Mm-hmm.
keeping myself in a positive frame of mind and uplifted because I want to be inspiring to other people. So
Mm-hmm.
in order for me to do that, I need to be discerning and make sure I'm not allowing those things into my energy field. And I know I need to recharge periodically. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
I walk every afternoon
Mm-hmm.
when I can, well, daily. That's my goal. But that's
Mm-hmm.
like a one way that I re-energize myself.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Boom, boom. I have to. It helps me get centered, helps me,
Mm-hmm.
clear my mind. It gets me out in nature. I love being out in the sun. To me, that's energizing.
Right.
So I know these things now because of, awareness of what I've learned. But like I said, if you would have asked me 10, 15 years ago, I might have said, well, I do love being outside, but I didn't know why or anything.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just,
It's almost like you instinctively knew that.
yes,
You couldn't
yes,
maybe put labels on it and say,
correct.
oh, this energizes me. This helps me to be in that place where I can have energy to share with others, because if I'm
Right.
like replenishing my own energy, or if it's getting sucked out of me by
Mm-hmm.
negativity and bad news and things like that, it's not.
Well, I know when I was a teacher for a very long time,
Uh-huh.
and And I know other teachers feel the same way, and moms do. And like your energy is just depleted by the end of the day. And
Mm-hmm.
it took me quite a while, almost my whole career, to realize they were sucking energy from me. Like
Yeah.
they were,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize that that's what was happening. I just thought,
Right.
well, you just get physically tired because you
Yeah.
put in a long day. But no, it was the energetic thing. I
Right.
now understand.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if I had had a fuller awareness of that, then maybe I would have done something a little bit different,
Mm-hmm.
to keep that from happening or to take care of myself a little bit better during the course of a day or something like that. So I
Mm-hmm.
probably would have addressed it in a better way if I had known this back then.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
makes sense.
definitely. Yeah,
But just, no,
so
please go ahead.
for kind of we're not going to delve into the things that Teresa is not, but
Mhm.
just kind of the real small, teeny tiny tip of the iceberg. The opposite of energetic is practical. So that is someone who starts with what is controllable. Um, the kind of the actions that they can take, not the energy in their head. Maybe I might call it the more tangible things,
Mhm.
where people who are energetic, it's more of the intangible.
Mhm.
It's
Yes. Yeah.
energy, emotions, thoughts within yourself, and how
Mhm.
you need
Yes.
to protect that and
Mhm.
kind of manage it. So that's
Right.
just a
Yeah.
little tip of what practical is.
Yes. I'm totally not practical to start things. I mean, I,
So
I become that. Like you said,
yes,
this is a starting point and it
yes.
helps me move forward. Like I start my day in a very energetic way
Hmm.
with, I have several practices that I do, and then
Right.
I go about my day.
Yeah.
But I don't have to do something tangible like I
Uh-huh.
know somebody else has to.
Yeah.
But it's just an
Right.
awareness is so helpful because then you can leverage that
Right.
awareness to your advantage.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk about now what is judgy. This is
Mhm.
the fun one. The one that
Mhm.
people kind of
Judge, they judge
judge. Yeah,
based
they
on the
they
word judgy.
they judge the judgy. Okay, so what it means to begin everything from a judgy perspective. What I want to help you understand what judgy really means when it comes to your strengths and how important it is for you to honor that meaning with everything you do, because it will bring you joy and results as well as help others lean on you when the time is right for them. As I walk you through this meaning, think about how this is already showing up in your life, where you are already doing this, or where you need to start doing this. To begin everything with judgy means to recognize that you have several very important rules that you live your life by.
Mhm.
These rules are concrete and cannot be moved or bent. They are a fundamental piece of who you are and represent how much you have grown, succeeded, and failed. These rules represents lines you can never cross, because you can never go back to your life before you strictly followed these rules. When you keep your rules from others, like keep them hidden from others, or hold them back out of fear or belief that they will never follow or understand, then ultimately your rules stop serving you. The
Mhm.
truth is that though you may think your rules are common sense, the reality is they are not, and that it's evident in everyone around you who doesn't seem to have common sense. You believe everyone should already know your rules and they don't follow
Yep.
them. You get triggered. This
Mhm.
triggering process represents a loss of time. Every second that ticks by while you're triggered, you are losing precious time that you could be spending being your best self
Yeah.
instead. The truth
Mhm.
is that the reason people don't have common sense or understand your rules is because you haven't taught them. Remember, your strengths are infinitely unique, which means so are your rules. So you have two choices. You can either work to become a great teacher of your rules, which means others will do things differently, or keep suffering under the delusion that they should already know your rules and consistently get triggered by those people and lose even more time. And the laughter means that we're hitting home.
You got that right.
Your
Oh
rules
my
have
gosh.
made a difference for you.
Oh my
Every
gosh.
human being on this planet can benefit from them because none of them have your strengths. When you master the ability of being a great teacher of your rules, you will be able to harness the value of your strengths on a daily basis. Great teachers help the right students open up their ears. Your judgy rules need to be taught so you'll help more people see they should listen to you instead of just labeling you as stubborn and start ignoring you. So here's the second part of your sentence is to teach. So you start with, I am at my best when I start by managing or focusing on my energy to teach. And then we'll fill in the blank for the rest of the sentence in a couple minutes. So what are you getting from this description?
Well, like you said, I was laughing and giggling because this was a huge concept for me. When I understood this, when I learned this about myself, first of all, it took me a while to understand it. Maybe I was in denial. I don't know. But when
Yeah,
it finally clicked, it made so much sense. And I do. I show up to situations, I show up in relationships, I show up to projects with some expectation. So I use
yeah.
the word expectation
Okay.
instead of rules. But yeah, and it would really lead to stress and frustration
Mm-hmm.
because I was not sharing my expectations with other people. They were just in my head and I expected
Right.
everybody to know them.
Yeah, because they're
I
common
mean,
sense.
yeah, like you mean you don't know this? Like it's not,
Yeah,
you don't think that you need to blah, blah, blah before you blah, blah, whatever it is. I'm not thinking of an instance right now
right.
in my
Yeah.
head, but
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, just between me and my husband, man, there was so much frustration for me. So many
Mm-hmm.
times I was triggered because
Mm-hmm.
he didn't have any knowledge of my roles, my expectations. I didn't share them with him, but yet I was getting ticked
Because
because he
he,
wasn't
right.
following them. So if I just think to other people in the world, how much stress and frustration and aggravation they're going through
Mhm.
because they're thinking other people know these rules and it's common sense for them,
Right.
not realizing, oh, it's not.
Right.
So knowing that I need to verbalize my
Right.
expectations, like you said, teach those rules, those expectations, it has just really taken off the edge, we'll say, taken away that frustration.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I don't get triggered, but it's
Right.
diminished immensely, just totally diminished. And I have more understanding and more acceptance of somebody not understanding why I'm doing something the way I'm doing it. Oh, that's right. They don't know my rule about that.
Right.
Like this is going to sound really weird, but I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. I have a rule and expectation. You wash your hands after you use the bathroom.
Yeah. That's common sense.
You would think, but when I know that somebody didn't,
Yeah.
it drives me nuts. And it's like,
Uh-huh.
oh, like I thought everybody knew that rule.
Right.
Evidently, they don't follow that rule. If they do know it, it's not important to
Right.
them. But that is just something that I had to understand, like, oh, like that's me. That's my rule. That's
Yeah.
my judginess
Right.
brought into that situation. And I really can't get mad at anybody for not following my rule.
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know?
I still say that to my grown children.
Oh, yeah.
They're boys. Did
I
you
mean,
wash
that's,
your hands?
yeah, me too with my grandkids. But I now with my grandkids, I have an opportunity to do a better job.
Yeah,
So
right. I know.
explaining, and this is why we do it, whatever.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so just giving myself permission to let other people have their own rules. And if it's that important to me, I better say something. I better teach them why that's important.
Thinking about your hand washing rule, because, it's just sort of a funny one that probably the majority of people watching this will agree with us on this one. But do you have any story from your life that would explain to someone why that's a rule for you?
That's a darn good question. And I can't think of
Hmm.
anything. I don't know if that was just something that was pounded into my head
Right.
as a child.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any recollection of that, but that
Right.
doesn't mean it didn't happen or that's not what I was picking up on.
Mhm.
I mean, how many things from our childhood have we absorbed and we don't
Right.
even know they're playing out
Yeah,
because they're
exactly.
still underlying there, and we don't really have a clue.
Yeah.
So it could very well be maybe I got in trouble for not doing it,
Yeah,
so
maybe. Yeah.
um but
Like you said, something like that is just so ingrained into us at this point.
mhm,
There may be cultures around the world who don't have access to running water the way we do, and
right.
they may not.
Right, exactly, and
Yeah.
it maybe
So,
doesn't bother anybody.
yeah.
But this was a really, really an epiphany for me
Uh-huh.
when I understood this whole judginess thing. I mean, I could just feel myself like, oh,
Yeah.
that's why.
Yeah.
That's why I get upset.
So,
That's why I've had, frustration.
right. And often one of the parts about teaching someone our judgy rules is if we can recall, unlike this situation that we just talked about, if we can recall a scenario where we learned that rule, like, maybe it was something that was seen as a failure or an
Mm-hmm.
embarrassment
Mm-hmm.
or
Right.
something like that, then we can share that with people. Sharing the story behind the rule is very powerful.
Mm.
And, maybe it's just that I'm going to pick on the hand washing thing again. It smells gross and there are germs on your hands.
Yeah,
And then
right.
you eat or you reach into a bag of chips that everybody else is reaching into, and to me that's really disgusting. So that's
Yeah.
why I want you
Yeah.
to wash your hands.
And there
So,
you go. It's just as simple as something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, just being able to share the story behind the rule can be very powerful.
But then it's up to them whether they follow the rule or not. But at least I,
Yeah.
did my job
Yeah.
and
Right.
I shared my rule, but then it's up to them as to what they do with that
Yeah.
information.
Yeah. All right. So let's go on to the third pairing. And this is internal. Um, so I didn't really talk about the accepting piece. So accepting means that rather than having a rule, like judging people do, accepting means that you're willing to try it out
Mm-hmm.
and, just kind of accept what rule or truth might come from you trying things out. So, a lot of people who are accepting, they try, and then something does develop into a rule for them because they have
Mm-hmm.
tried so many areas. So that's just a little piece of the accepting versus the judging. So now let's do internal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, what it means to begin everything from an internal perspective. I'll help you understand what internal really means when it comes to your strengths and how important it is for you to honor that meaning with everything you do because it will bring you clarity and confidence, as well as help others lean on your wisdom when the time is right for them. As I walk you through this meeting, think about how this is already showing up in your life. Where are you already doing this? Where do you need to start relying on, or where do you need to start relying on your internal resources more? To begin, everything with internal means to recognize that your greatest lessons, ideas, and teachings come from within. Your beliefs, experiences, and the wisdom you've gathered from your own successes and failures all form a rich internal library. This library is unique to you and holds the most powerful tools for helping others and guiding yourself. When you look outside for answers, from experts, books, or even well meaning advice, you might find useful information, but the deepest, most impactful lessons are already inside you. If you rely too much on external sources, you may miss the profound insights you've built up through your own life. You might even feel like you're constantly seeking, never quite trusting what you already
Mhm.
know. This leads to hesitation and doubt. Every time you doubt your internal wisdom, you lose precious moments that could be spent teaching and leading from a place of confidence. The truth is, you have everything you need within you. Your internal wisdom is unmatched because it's shaped by your unique strengths and experiences. No one else has lived your life or walked in your shoes, which means the way you see the world and the way you teach is one of a kind. If you keep seeking answers outside, you'll never fully tap into this vast reservoir of insight. Your role now is to trust that your internal library is enough, that it's time to stop constantly seeking outside validation and start using what's already within you. As you become more comfortable drawing from your internal resources, you'll find that others naturally start listening more closely to what you have to say. Great teachers aren't made by how much they learn from others. They're made by how well they can teach from their own inner knowledge.
Mm.
So here's the third part of your sentence. From inside you. So what are you getting from this description?
Um, Again, very insightful.
Mm-hmm.
And as a person who has high input and high learner in my top
Uh-huh.
10, I'm on a constant
Mm-hmm.
journey of gathering and learning and
Mm-hmm.
bringing in resources. And so this is almost in opposition to that kind of.
Yeah.
But so
It's
I'm
definitely in
always,
opposition to our input.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So in those strengths, learner and input is constantly learning, gathering, bringing
Mhm.
in. And but at some point, I do have to trust myself. Okay, I have all this
Yeah.
library. I love the word library, a
Mhm.
library of resources and information, and
Mhm.
it's my life experience. It's all here,
Right. Right.
and I can tap into that and share that with the world. And
Mhm.
this is probably the one I probably am struggling with the most
Okay.
because it's a great awareness knowing that I have everything I need. I
Mhm.
need to really learn to trust myself more, which I am doing once
Mhm.
I've learned this about myself.
Yeah,
And
you and
not
I have talked about this. We're both in this sort of
right.
same.
So that external validation is huge. Like that was me checking with somebody, asking opinions,
Right.
going with here, and following all these outside people. And
Getting
now
all the
that
programs and
yes,
yeah. Mhm.
exactly. And now I have to bring it in and
Yeah.
trust that I know a lot, which I do
Yeah.
because of my
Yeah.
years of trainings and gatherings
Yeah.
and
Right.
educating and reading. And so I have to trust that library that I have within me now and pull from it. Also knowing that, okay, if I can't find it within myself, I can go figure it out and go
Mhm.
find a resource. That's my
Mhm.
input,
Mhm.
that's so, and that's my learner. So I can go learn something new if I need to. So that trust factor is really something that I am learning to do more for myself.
Actually, your
Um,
learner is an internal strength.
Oh, there you go.
Because learner is all about, yes, taking it in, but taking it in for my own self-knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
self-improvement, self-awareness. So learner is actually internal.
That
Input,
it,
however, is external.
I was going to say, so there's
Yeah.
a balance there. There's a
Yeah.
nice balance in that
Hmm.
pairing.
Yeah.
So that's not to say, that kind of keeps me from coming up with excuses.
Yeah.
We'll say all of this information
Yeah.
is a way to stop the excuses, stop the
Yeah.
hesitation.
Yeah. Me
You got
too.
what you need. You don't
Mhm.
need validation from anybody else. Just go forward,
Mhm.
trust your own information,
Right.
and do what you need to do. So that's, like I said, that's a journey that I'm on, is to
Mhm.
really step into that more fully.
Yeah. You already
Um,
have all the ingredients to bake a
mhm.
beautiful cake. You
Yes,
even
yes,
have the recipe.
yeah,
It's somewhere in your input. You've got to find a way,
yes.
but it's there.
But
Trust yourself.
but I still have these old beliefs, these old stories that I have lived in my own head,
Hmm.
telling myself about myself. And I'm learning to let go of those and, understand that, no, I got this. I got this. I can figure it out. I
Right.
know it's there. It's going to come to the surface as needed. Ooh, I'm getting chills on that. So that to me
Ooh.
is truth.
Yeah.
So it's just, this awareness is just so eye-opening, and it's just really has helped me become more confident, feel more empowered, so I can move forward in a bolder, bigger way,
Hmm.
and offer my gifts to the world.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Absolutely.
And like you said, this is a starting point,
Right.
but it can expand in so many ways.
Hmm. So, do you have your one sentence together, or you want me to repeat it for you?
You can go ahead and repeat it, but
Okay.
yes, I do have it.
I am at my best when I start by managing or focusing on my energy to teach from what is inside of me.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's
And,
energetic, judgy, and internal.
and that's something I could say every day
Hmm.
and really own it and embrace it,
Hmm.
mm, and use it, like I said, like as you said, as a simple way of starting my day, starting a project, stepping into a situation, and showing up as your best. And then things will change and things will shift, but you're at least showing up as your best
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
this knowledge. So
Right. Yeah. And there you have it.
very cool stuff. Thank you so much. We did go a
Yeah.
little bit
Thank you.
long today,
Yeah,
but
we did.
that's okay.
We always do.
This is really fascinating. Do you want to share what you're offering for
Uh,
other people with this?
yeah.
You ready to
Yeah.
share that with the world?
Yeah, I'm ready to share that with the world. I am offering to coach people on this one sentence strengths mastery, and the price is $49. And I'm in sort of testing mode. So for a short time, I'm not sure when I will be wrapping up my special offer, but I'm offering it at half price because I'm testing and just kind of getting started. So it'd be $24.
No, that's fabulous.
Yeah.
So your information will be in the description with this recording,
Yeah.
and I'll drop it in, or you can drop it in the Facebook after the
Okay.
live is over
Hmm.
with. And feel free to get a hold of Linda. She'll walk you through. Now you do have to have your strengths report.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
either you pull out one you've done in the
34.
past,
Hmm.
or you go ahead and purchase one from the Gallup website. The
Right.
34, as you
Yeah.
said, we want the entire report so we can see the patterns and, do our
Right.
counting. And then she will walk you through this, and you can see how you are and how you show up as your best
Yeah.
self.
Right.
It's going to be eye-opening, I'm sure. No doubt in
Yep.
my mind.
Yep.
And of course, you can get a hold of me. I
Yep.
I
Always.
can help as well, but I thank you so much. This has been so
Yeah,
fun. I
yeah,
appreciate
this
you
was fun.
practicing on me. You did a great job. So thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thanks.
Okay, my friends,
Yep.
you reach
See you
out
next
and
week.
yep, we will see you next week. Bye-bye.